Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be kind of a get ready with me on how I achieve my glowy winter skin look, like my foundation base. A few videos back, I believe it was one of my Project Pan intros, I got a couple of comments on how my skin was looking. And that was when I was trying a combination, like a new combination of products, and I was really happy with the end result. So I wanted to share with you how I achieved that. I already have my eyes and my eyebrows done because we're just going to be talking about the skin today. I do live in Canada. We're buried under like over a foot of snow. It's cold and dry, and I would really like for my skin to have that healthy, glowy look to it without looking greasy. I do have like combo skin, so I can get pretty oily in my T-zone. My voice sounds a little funny. I am quite sick, and I've been putting off filming for like 5 days now, but I really, I'm running out of content for you guys, and I'm supposed to be pre-filming before this baby comes, so you're going to have to excuse the nasally, rough sounding voice today, and also my hair, but that's a whole nother issue. So before I sat down to do my eye makeup, I did give my face a spray with the Mario Badescu spray, or I also have the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water, just a nice hydrating light spray to give my skin a little bit of extra hydration before getting started, and that has time to sink in before all the rest of my products, of course. So for primers, I am going to use the two that I have in Project Pans. First, I'm going to go in with the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. Mine is pretty old, but this is a really great hydrating primer. My forehead especially gets looking pretty dry in the winter time. And also, I haven't mentioned it on my beauty channel, I don't think, but I'm getting like what's that called? Melasma? Like the discoloration on my forehead, it almost looks like a shadow, or I have a big I've all of a sudden got a big dent in the center of my forehead. It's actually just my skin darkening right there. So hopefully that goes away once this baby comes, because yeah, not digging that look. And then I have my Smashbox Photo Finish Pore Minimizing Primer. I do have quite enlarged pores on my face, and this is in my Roulette Pan collab. I just focused this right on my cheeks, like right by my nose, and I really press it in. And then if I have a tiny bit left on my fingers, I do a little bit on my chin and a little bit on my forehead. Okay, I've zoomed you guys in a little bit. I also just got Max from the bus stop, so if I'm looking even worse for wear than I was at the beginning of the video, that is why. So the foundation that I have been wearing quite a bit, except for now that I've started all my million Project Pans, I have been using and loving the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. I have mine in the shade LW2, which seems to be a really good match for me. It took me forever to pick up this foundation to try it, but I'm so glad that I did. And it just, my skin really does look great, if I do say so myself, when I use this foundation. Let me know what does yours smell like, if you have it. Again, I feel like I'm always talking about scents, not like Kathleen Lights, but since my pregnancy, everything, I'm just like, does this smell weird, or is it because I'm pregnant that I think it smells weird? It doesn't smell bad, but I can't identify what it's supposed to smell like either. I don't know. Does yours have a scent? Let me know. But I just apply this quite liberally, and now my nose is super red because I was out in the cold. I don't know what temperature it is exactly, but it's in the negatives, that's for sure. Okay, so I applied this all over my face. I didn't apply too much. Like once this is spread out, it's going to be a pretty soft, even layer. I'm going to use my e.l.f. foundation blurring brush, and then I typically go in, oh, there was a fluffy on that, with a little bit extra on my beauty sponge to build up just a tiny bit of coverage in my problem areas, like down here on my jaw and around my nose where I'm particularly red. And I also have been liking applying my foundation with a foundation brush first. I feel like I get the best coverage that way, and then going in with a beauty sponge regardless. Anyways, I do prefer my concealer with a beauty sponge, so it's not really that much of an extra step for me to quickly like blend out any brush strokes or anything like that that are left on my skin. Trying to be careful around my brows. Only over the last month or so I've started doing my brows first again. I don't know, I go back and forth on it. I like the way it sets up the eye look to do your brows first before anything else, but then to apply foundation, I find it really hard to not get foundation in my brows and then have to touch them up afterwards. So as you can see, that was probably light to medium coverage what I applied there. I am going to take a little bit more, and I'm just going to put that on my sponge. This is an EcoTools sponge. It's starting to get a little crackly there. I should probably replace this. But just putting a little bit on the sponge, and then I'm just looking, where do I want a little bit of extra coverage? I have not been into full coverage, and like I mentioned, I want it on my cheeks and my nose and on my jaw mostly, where I get red. I've struggled with acne since grade 5. So how old are you in grade 5? Like 11? So really my spots and my scarring and all of that doesn't really bother me anymore like it used to. It's just a part of me, so I haven't been preferring full coverage for quite a long time. So this is what we're looking like so far with the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation along with the primers we used. Now I've also been using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Brightening Concealer. This is not cruelty free, but can you see how much is left in here? Like 2 millimeters at the bottom. I was trying so hard to finish this before the new year so I could put it in my 2019 makeup empties, which will be coming. I just haven't had a chance yet, but it's still kicking. So I applied this under the eyes and in the center of my face for any areas I want to be a little bit brighter. This is not a great color match for me. I do have neutral leaning warm undertones to my skin. So besides the fact that it's not cruelty free and I only support cruelty free makeup brands, this is something I would want out of my collection anyways because it's not a good shade match. But it does do a good job brightening the under eyes, especially since I'm not really sleeping. To set everything into place, I'm going to use my e.l.f. HD powder. Now this has both the regular HD powder as well as the under eye setting powder mixed in, and I had the under eye setting powder that had the glitter in it, which I bought by accident, and I really hated that, so I mixed it in all together. So while this still does have some glitter particles, it's not as glaringly obvious as when it was, you know, the only powder. Like this kind of diffused it. I'm going to just pour some in the lid. But because it does have those particles in it, it just adds a little bit more to the brightening effect. I'm using this Crown Brushes white handled brush. I got this in a BoxyCharm a really long time ago. I do apply quite a bit but I don't let it sit that long. So I don't know if that's really considered baking or not. But since using a loose powder like this, I actually really enjoy this e.l.f. powder, and it's super inexpensive. Since I started setting my under eyes in this way where I apply quite a bit but not really baking, like, I don't know if you can tell, there's really not that much powder down. I'm now taking a big powder brush and just powdering the rest of my face with it as well. But this powder is super finely milled, and I've noticed a significant difference in how much my under eyes, inhaling powder, have been creasing. Now, I do have lines under my eyes. I do have quite large eyes, and I'm getting older, so that all plays a role. Like, no concealer is never going to settle at all in my lines under my eyes, but I feel like using this powder has really been helping. And it is in my 20 and 2020 project pan, but I might be tempted to purchase it again, which is surprising because it's kind of sat in my collection for quite a while, unloved, but really been liking that lately. So as I set my face, I kind of brushed away any of the excess that I had put underneath my eyes. Like I said, it wasn't really there for that long. Whew, powder is just going everywhere, all over my pants. I've inhaled a bunch. Next, I typically go in with bronzer. The bronzer I was wearing in that video and one that I'm trying to pan is also a product that's not cruelty free. This is a mini of the Nars Laguna, and I have a huge dip in here. Every time I use it, I'm expecting to hit pan, but it's kind of dark for me right now. But this is a warmer bronzer with a bit of a sheen or like shimmer to it, so it really just helps lend to that glowy look that we're going for. And I'm using the Luxie large angled brush. This is my favorite bronzer brush. I have a very small head and anything that's for bronzer or that other people use for bronzer, I just feel like spreads bronzer across my whole face. And I feel like most people would use this for like the under eye or maybe blush even, but it's just a perfect bronzer brush for me. And my ferrule, I'm like holding the mirror really awkwardly, is completely loose, and when it falls apart I'm gonna be so sad. I'm gonna have to go and repurchase it right away. I got this at Ipsy like 6 years ago or something crazy like that. I couldn't remember what blush I was wearing specifically in that video, so I'm just reaching for the one that's in my 20 and 2020 project pan. That's kind of hard to say. This is the Revlon blush in Oh Baby Pink number 1. This is just a natural pink color with a bit of a like glow to it, which I really enjoy, and I feel like this is one of those blushes where you can't really go too overboard with. And I'm applying this with the Aesthetica P12 brush, if you were curious. Yes, this just gives a really natural kind of look to the cheeks. These are my favorite kind of blushes. Revlon's not cruelty free though. For highlight, you guys know I've been using the Balm Mary Luminizer. This is just a little sample I'm trying to hit pan on. And now this is kind of key for this glowy look. This is the Luxie 516 Duo Fiber Powder Brush. You see how like it's a bit of a paddle shape, but it's very big. And because this highlighter can get intense, but I feel like it's a great everyday highlighter, I liberally coat this brush and then I start placing it just on my cheekbones like you would normally. That's where I apply the most amount of product. But then lately I've been sweeping it right around in a C shape above my brow. I also bring it like under my brow bone a bit, and then I really start like blending this into the cheek. So it's kind of a blush topper as well. And I hope you're able to see just like how nice and glowy this is. This is not one of those super metallic highlighters where you see it from space. I feel like this technique would not work with a product like that, but because I mean this has some glow. It's not like a super natural type of highlighter, but it's also not too crazy intense either, if that makes sense. And I just love how glowy that makes the cheek. And then whatever's left, I usually dust on the tip of the nose and the Cupid's bow. And I've been loving the way this looks. And because my skin has been drying out and not on the oily side, my skin is quite oily in the summertime. I feel like I can get away with a technique like this, whereas in the warmer months, there's no way I would look like such a grease ball. Lastly, I like to set all those powders down. I'm trying to finish off my Morphe spray. I will not be repurchasing this. You can't even see it. I do not consider Morphe cruelty free anymore, and also I just feel like I wish I would have tracked every single use the way that Too Much Tosh does, because I feel like this doesn't have nearly as many uses as so many other sprays I've used in the past. And also I'm not a fan of aerosol cans, so really I don't know why I bought this to begin with, but it's starting to spit a little, like it's very low, but I apply quite a bit of that. My skin is like wet. Then I take my beauty sponge on like the clean side that I wasn't using and just very gently dab in that setting spray, and I feel like that makes a big difference as well. I feel like it helps make the highlighter pop even more. I'm just going to pop on a lip color and I will be right back. Alright guys, so that is how I achieve my glowy winter skin foundation routine. I guess I'm still working on a title if you haven't noticed. I am in love with how this looks. Now this is not something I'm doing every day just because not all of these products are in my project pan, but I incorporated as many of them in as I could, and I'm just really happy with how this turned out. Let me know what products you use to achieve a healthy glow in the winter time down in the comments below. This video has turned out to be longer than I anticipated, so I'm just going to stop rambling right here. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so that I know, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!